5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I like it.
These people are not real Bulldog fans. They are jumping on the bandwagon because they found something they like.
I need to get the word out that I need a helping hand right now. I'm down on the bottom. I need someone to step down a few steps off this ladder, put their hand down, let me grab hold to it, and pull me up.
Welcome to the Kerry Kinsey Show. We're talking Georgia Bulldogs. It gets kind of heated when I ask Rich, is Kirby exempt from criticism because he's won 2 national championships? You're going to love this back and forth. Is Bobo off the hook because he finally opened up the playbook? And we'll take a tongue-in-cheek look at the race for the league titles. And there's a chef down in southeast Georgia who needs a lifeline. We're going to tell you what you can do to help Jerome Brown of the Old School Diner. The Kerry Kinsey Show is next. Rich, as the dogs soar near the halfway mark, let's look at the league counterfeits who continue to just bark. Big things were predicted for Beamer Ball, but the Chickens took a big fall in Knoxville recently. Joe can throw it a mile, but there's nobody left to pull in the pigskin. That mercurial mess out of Gainesville looked pretty thin. We might put 50 on them during the Jacks party. The rest of the East is not very hardy. They're looking at the round ball season now. No offense, Mr. Naismith. The West is a mess no longer. For Jimbo, College Station may not be the place. SI says he and the Ags have run out of grace. Dog graduate Rich Lenz married a Tiger. He insists Mike and the boys are fighters. Says they have enough in the tank for the Tide in T-Town in November.
And I'm not writing the Tigers off just yet.
But when he wakes up from that dream, he'll see Bama controls their destiny. Didn't we do a whole show in the spring predicting this bash? Yep. Save for a disaster, it'll be Roll Tide and Go Dogs in the conference clash. And it can't come any faster.
Kerry Kinsey, I think you laid down the law pretty well there on the two. The end of the divisions, right? They're going away in the SEC. So we'll have to enjoy this one last year, probably where we got the East and the West, and they're battling it out before they create this mega conference. But okay, I'll take Alabama and Georgia. Why not? That's the class of the conference.
Fastest break on video. Smash the like button. Subscribe if new. Comment and share if you care. We're all excited and everything, but you already see the fanboys for Bobo taking receipts. Hey, you said he was a bad OC, and you're like, come on. I mean, he finally got with the program, right?
Exactly right. He was getting very much deserved criticism, whether in this corner or other corners. It was very much deserved. It was a very slow starting, sluggish Georgia offense. And hey, it was great to see. Saturday was wonderful, right? It was like, finally, you guys are rolling. And I really like Beck. And, I always stuck with Beck. I think a few weeks ago, you were suggesting, is there a quarterback controversy? It's like, no, Beck's fine. It's Bobo. And now Bobo's getting his act together. And we're seeing what we've done with Bowers. Now, I got a thought about Bowers, right? As you know, I think he's a legitimate Heisman Trophy candidate. And, I feel sorry for Vandy, I guess a little bit. But this Saturday, I really hope that they kind of light it up Brock, that they give him a 200-yard, 3-touchdown day. They could do it against Vandy if they want to. And that's the kind of thing that'll really get him on the national radar. because you and I know all about Brock Bowers, and dog fans know all about him, and the SEC fans know all about him. But, he's still not being talked about nationally in places like Chicago and New York and LA as a Heisman candidate. So he needs like this massive day, and he can get it against Vandy this Saturday.
All you have to do is look at that third game last year against South Carolina. That was the third game of the year, and Georgia and Monken, they pulled everything out of the bag. And the point is that all these people saying that Bobo was hiding his best stuff for Kentucky, well, that doesn't fly because Monken gave his best stuff third game of the year. So you can't equate the two.
And I don't, and I won't. Monken will be one thing and Bobo will be another. I'm happy for Mike Bobo. We should applaud him. Great performance. Offense looked great. It's about time.
Let's talk about every time we've had a difference of opinion. Steve Young, Joe Montana, remember that? Earl Morrall and Bob Greasy. I mean, it seems like since those days in sports, if you weren't on the bandwagon for the company, in other words, if you right now are not pro Kirby about everything. I'll give you two examples where Kirby's been wrong. James Coley, and there was a kid out of Hampton, Georgia that wanted to go be a Bulldog down there where he used to cover the races. His name was Will Anderson, and guess what? He was too big, they thought, to be a linebacker, too small. He was a tweener to be a defensive end. He went to another program, guess what, and became a stud. So Kirby missed on those two situations, and I believe people are kind of placing him as almost a god now. I saw somebody say, "In Kirby we trust." I believe that's blasphemous as a Christian. I believe we shouldn't raise people to that level where we believe everything they do is perfect and not question them. And this is not a coach's show. This is a show where two people have been covering sports and the Dogs and LSU for years, and we have discernment. We see things from a different perspective than most fans. This is not a fan show or a fanboy show, and we do believe that coaches should be looked at with a critical eye.
I agree. Well, it would be rather boring if it wasn't like that, Kerry. And I can assure that Georgia fans or fans who maybe would watch this or are super critical if anyone says anything negative about the Bulldogs, just go to Baton Rouge and see what they're saying on the radio there. Go to Tuscaloosa and see what they're saying on the radio or on the internet there, at least earlier in the season. This isn't, if anything, I think Georgia fans are pretty kind to the Dogs. But the other part of your question, the other part of your statement, though, is they are back-to-back national champions who have won and have a winning streak of, 22 games now? Mm-hmm. I believe that's correct. 22-game winning streak, back-to-back national titles. Kerry, I mean, you got to look hard to find reasons to be critical of Kirby Smart. I think that's fair to say. I don't think it's fair to – I think it's plenty fair to criticize Bobo, but, I think Kirby's got his act together pretty well. So, yeah, it's okay to call him out when things don't go right. But, honestly, Kerry, most everything's going right now for the Dogs.
Oh, I agree with that. But I'll tell you, the person who spends $150 on a Bowers jersey and then says you and I can't talk critically about the Dogs wasn't there during the lean years, during Jeff Piper, and doesn't know anything about Vince or Irk, who I covered at Georgia Southern. Can't tell you who Jeff Sanchez is without Googling them. These people are not real Bulldog fans. They are jumping on the bandwagon because they found something they like, and they're critical of anybody else who doesn't go with the company line like us. We were around during the lean years. It's kind of like when I covered Marshall and they got a first down after the plane crash and everybody in the stands cheered over a first down. We're not to that level. We were never at that level, but don't forget our roots. Don't forget where we were and where we are now. Thank you, Kirby, for getting back-to-back natties, but he's not without criticism on everything.
Well, that's what this is for.
Yeah.
I think we do a nice job of applauding a great effort. I don't think you've seen in the last 15 minutes where either one of us has been said a critical word about Saturday's performance. I don't think that would be fair. I think that is the kind of performance that a number one team should be putting on the field, and they did it. And Kentucky was a good, solid team. It was clearly going to be their first real test, and they answered the bell in a very positive way. So,
No, I agree, but just in sports in general, I'll give you an example. As a Falcons fan growing up, going to these games since the 60s when I threw my helmet and crushed it down in Fort Benning in Columbus, Georgia after a loss. I lived and died with that team, and I used to go on their Falcons page and comment. Go on there now and say something bad about that team, and there is just a rush to judgment among the sports fans that you're not a true Falcons fan. And I believe sports has changed since the 70s and 80s. Do you see that, what I'm talking about here?
Well, that's all social media driven.
Exactly.
It's all social media driven. It's really easy to be very critical and hypercritical, right? Just to get noticed. People are lonely, man. They want to get noticed. So they say outrageous things whenever they can. And you just got to take it, and you just got to, do that.
And so, these are the type of people that are, ramping this thing up to another level. But I'll give you an example. In 1983, I started in Florence, South Carolina, and Clemson used to send their highlights when we couldn't go to the game on the Bird, Telstar 5. You pulled it down. You know the routine. Sure. And they would send all Clemson highlights. And I was like, wait a minute. The other team scored 2 touchdowns, and they're like, we don't care. And so the propaganda was already in place 30 years ago.
Yeah, well, if I was Clemson, I'd be like, hey, you want all the highlights? Get your butt up here.
Always fun to talk to you, buddy, and we'll see you next week on the Kerry Kinsey Show. Thank you, Rich Lenz.
Yeah, Kerry, thank you. Remember, Brock Bowers, 200 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns. Got to happen.
Let's do it. There's a restaurant in Southeast Georgia that's really iconic. People come from around the world to visit the Old School Diner. It's really different than what you would expect. And Chef Jerome Brown says he's fallen on some hard times, and he needs your help.
I need some help, and I promise everything that I receive from the outside, I'm going to return it in another formality to someone.
Chef Jerome Brown of the Old School Diner is looking for a hand up. You know the place in Townsend, Georgia, just south of Savannah.
Come off the highway and you see the carpet, you're going to know and feel that you're home here at the Old School Diner.
He's been manning the kitchen there for more than 17 years.
And I won't have it no other way.
It's that hole-in-the-wall building where you won't leave hungry thanks to the wheelchair platter. They say you might need a wheelchair to get out the door after this feast. But what do people really love about this dining experience?
I come out about the same time.
Jerome is the main attraction. No one can touch me with my food. No one. I challenge any chef in the world. No one can touch me because, see, the man upstairs don't lay his hand upon me. That makes me untouchable.
Actor Ben Affleck believes in the chef. Brown says Affleck pops in at his restaurant from time to time. The chef says Ben was sent to him by God.
That's how it happened. I prayed and asked the Lord to send him to me. And when I told my wife, my deceased wife, that he was coming, she said, he's not coming to this little old place. After I said that prayer, in 9 days, my brother walked in with nine guests, no security. He said, I don't need no security. I'm going to see my brother.
Last year, the celebrity chef cooked up a massive amount of victuals for the reception for Affleck's wedding to Jennifer Lopez at their 87-acre estate in Riceboro, Georgia.
The week that he got married to J-Lo, I host 562 people, and they could not believe that one man was doing all that cooking. But I was back there by myself.
When you stroll through the old school diner, you'll see pictures of many famous people on the wall who've enjoyed the chef's out-of-this-world country cuisine. I saw one of my heroes from my days as a Falcons fan. You hosted Steve Bartkowski. He loves the Lord.
Yes, he does. Oh, you've been doing your homework.
Well, I grew up with the Falcons and the Braves, Georgia Bulldogs, and of all of them, I'd say Steve Bartkowski was kind of like my hero growing up. And since then, he's come to Christ and loves the Lord.
Mine too. Yes. He quote that he was going to put Ben on the back burner because he was going to be number one celebrity in my life. I said, no one can put Ben Affleck on the back burner because he came through a prayer to me.
But now the chef prays to hear from Affleck, Bartkowski, and you. He says he needs everybody's help. A lawyer to handle some pressing matters would be nice. He's just having a rough time and claims it all started going south when his wife Loretta died a few years ago. She was a teacher of 34 years. But this chef says he's yet to see any survivor benefits.
I hadn't seen nothing since that. And I was supposed to be getting her retirement. I haven't gotten out $1.
Chef Jerome says he could lose his home if he doesn't raise some money, and soon.
Just so I can breathe, I would say I'm not going to ask for no more than what I really need. But right now, I need just like $6,500.
Funds that he claims will eventually go back into the community.
And I care about people, I really do. Because see, through my main goal is to make it big in life where I can help others. I want to get up on this ladder where I can reach down and pull somebody out the quicksand. You know, I want to build a church. I want to do a senior citizen bus that will enable the senior citizens go the first and the third of the month to do their shopping. These are things that I want to do. I want to build a recreation center, for kids drug free. There's a lot of things I want to do. I want to work out churches throughout the country if the Lord allow me to do it. My personal number is 912-270-4530. Or they can call the restaurant on weekends, 912-832-2136.
He's a good man and loves the Lord. The chef and the Kerry Kinsey Show are both in need of a financial infusion. A camera and a tripod are just one of many items we're looking to upgrade. Would you think about donating to us by sending your offering to The Kerry Kinsey Show, P.O. Box 6054, Jensen Beach, Florida 34957, or donate through our website at thekerrykinseyshow.com and look for the Give button. We're on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Instagram, and X. Thanks for watching The Kerry Kinsey Show, and remember, there's no hope for this world except in Jesus Christ. Jesus is Lord.